Before you can save serious money when selling your home, you first have to be psychologically prepared to do so. As it turns out, human beings, by default, aren't very good negotiators. We have a lot of built-in blind spots, and we tend to make really poor decisions when it comes to money. There are many of these psychological challenges, but I'm only going to discuss 5 of them here, because they're the most important ones for our purposes. The 5 are the hypnosis of the customary, the anchoring effect, dealing with percentages, the payday effect, and the psychology of negotiation. I'll cover them one at a time. I'll explain what they are, how they get you to make poor decisions, and most importantly, how to combat them. By the way, understanding these will make you a better negotiator everywhere, not just when selling your home. I have to warn you, when you negotiate commission with a real estate agent, they'll try to hypnotize you with the use of a single word: customary. They'll tell you it's customary to pay 6%. They'll tell you it's customary to pay for the buyer's agent. They'll tell you it's customary to pay for the buyer's home warranty, and on and on. Most home sellers don't even question something that's customary. They just do it without giving it a second thought. That's the hypnosis, doing without thinking. I'm here to tell you customary means nothing. It's just a negotiating tactic used by experienced salespeople to get inexperienced buyers to comply with their wishes without putting up a fight. You don't have to do anything because it's customary. Whenever I hear the word customary, I immediately switch into negotiation mode because the chances are it benefits the other person at my expense. I suggest you do the same. I have a new custom I want you to adopt. I want you to pay real estate commission that is fair, rather than one based on some made-up number from 100 years ago. The anchoring effect. As it turns out, when it comes to negotiating, the person who speaks first wins. Why is that? Well, it's easy to get someone to move a little bit in negotiations and very difficult to get them to move a lot. So, if a real estate agent tells you they charge 3% to list a home, you can be sure the commission you pay will be at or very close to 3%. If, on the other hand, you tell an agent you're looking for someone to list your home and are offering 1% commission, if they're interested, then the price you pay will be at or close to 1%. And that's why if you want to pay a dramatically lower commission to your listing agent, you must speak first. And I'll teach you how to do that in this course. When it comes to percentages, most people make really bad decisions. Imagine gas is $2 a gallon and you see gas for $3 a gallon. If you're like most people, you'll keep driving to find another gas station, maybe a long way away, just to save about $20. Why? Because the $3 a gallon gas represents an intolerable 50% ripoff over what you'd expect to pay. And there's no way you're getting ripped off by that much. Now imagine your real estate agent says they won't sell your home for a 1% commission, but they'll do it for 1.5%. Would you give in? Most people would. After all, it's only 0.5%. What's the big deal? The big deal is that 0.5% is $2,000 on a $400,000 home. So you'll drive for miles to save $20, but you'll thoughtlessly give away $2,000 because you're bad with percentages. So how do you deal with this shortcoming? By only dealing in dollars. No more in percentages. And I'll show you how to do that too. My recommendation to you in negotiating anything, always deal in dollars. The payday effect. What day of the week are people most careless with their money? Payday, the day they feel richest. When people have some extra money in their pocket, especially if they perceive it to be from a windfall, they have a tendency to get a little careless. And that's precisely what happens to many people when they sell their home with some equity in it. You may think to yourself, geez, I'm getting $100,000 of equity out of my home. Who cares if the real estate agent makes $18,000? Why be so greedy? You may even go so far as to feel guilty that you're making so much from the sale and your agent's making so little. Never forget, you worked a lifetime to accumulate that equity, and the agent will probably work about 20 hours to help you sell it. So, how do you combat the payday effect? Before you concede any amount of money in a negotiation, think about what it will take to replace it. My wife and I are pretty good savers. On average, we put about $2,000 into savings every month after all the bills are paid, not counting retirement savings. So, when my buyer's agent asked me to concede an additional $3,500 to him in commission, I thought about what it would take my wife and I to replace that in savings. For my wife and I to replace $3,500 in our savings, which is after-tax dollars, we'd both have to work for 7 weeks. That equates to 560 hours of work for the two of us, plus an additional 100 hours of commute time. How fast do you think I wanted to give up that $3,500? The agent wasn't going to be doing any extra work for that money. Do you think it's worth being a patient negotiator to save 660 hours of work and commuting? That's why I fight so hard for every $1,000. I don't think of it as $1,000. I think of it as 200 hours of work and commute time. When it comes to the job of negotiating, my feeling is you can either work a little to preserve your money now, or you can work a lot to try and replace it later. Finally, we come to the topic most people probably hate, negotiating. But negotiating is easy if you know what it is. And what is negotiating? Simple. It's just giving the party a choice between two alternatives. When you do that, they can choose one of your two alternatives, or they can counteroffer by giving you two alternatives. The one thing to know about negotiating is that the other party always chooses the best of the two alternatives for themselves. The trick is to make their best choice your best choice. To see how this works in real life, let's look at an example of buying an automobile. Imagine you're sitting with a car salesperson and they tell you the car you're interested in is $18,000. Being an aspiring negotiator, you ask them, is there any way I can get it for $17,000? And of course, like any good salesperson, they respond, I'm sorry, that's the best I can do. Why did your negotiation fail? You already know the reason. The other party always chooses the best alternative, and the salesperson would rather sell you the car for $18,000 than for $17,000, so that's what they chose. But now you do something unexpected. You stand up, extend your hand to shake the salesperson's hand and say, I want to thank you for your time. I'm sorry we couldn't come to an agreement. And you start to walk away. Whether you know it or not, you've given the salesperson a choice between two alternatives. What are the two alternatives? $17,000 or nothing. Now which is their best option? This technique of giving the other party two options by walking away is something you must be prepared to do when negotiating fees with real estate agents and anybody else. Why is this technique so effective when negotiating real estate commission? Because you know what all real estate agents know. There are too many of them. And if they don't accept your proposed commission, some other agent will, and it's gone forever. That's how you negotiate dramatically lower commissions. You declare what you'll pay, and if they try to negotiate, you just walk away. It works like a charm.